Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're going deep on daily routines using sources that you sent us.
Always interesting to see what people are interested in.
Yeah, and we've got quite a range this time. English language learning guides, some YouTube videos, even some IELTS answers.
Sounds like a global perspective on how people structure their days.
Exactly. It's like a worldwide snapshot of routines. One of the first things that caught my eye was this source listing over 55 phrases.
55!
Yeah, to talk about daily routines in English. Super detailed. It lists everything from I brush my teeth to I sleepwalk.
Oh, wow.
And made me wonder, is this how researchers really study routines at such a granular level?
Well, it's more typical for researchers to focus on those broader categories, like work or leisure, self-care.
Right.
But these specific phrases, though, they give us a glimpse into the incredible diversity and the individuality of human behavior.
Yeah, that's true. Each phrase, it represents a choice, a habit.
Right.
Just a tiny piece of how someone constructs their day.
What stood out to you from that list?
I was really drawn to Brandon's routine,
Yeah.
also from that 55 phrases source. He has this very structured sandwich format.
Which format?
Work, then errands and chores, then personal time before bed. It seems efficient, but also a bit rigid.
Yeah.
This is a common pattern.
You know that work, chores, personal time sequence? That's a classic.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. Research on time blocking suggests that separating work and leisure can actually improve focus and reduce stress.
Oh, interesting.
Historically, it really reflects that traditional 9-to-5 workday
Right.
and those clear boundaries between professional life and personal life.
But those boundaries have gotten a little blurry lately, haven't they?
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
rise of remote work, flexible hours, the
Yeah.
gig economy
Well, all of that.
has really led to a more fluid approach to routines. Even phrases like, I ordered dinner from that same source kind of hint at this shift.
Right.
Instead of a strict division between work and leisure, we're seeing more integration and flexibility.
Makes sense. Speaking of language, one of the English language learning sources we got uses some pretty vivid vocabulary
Oh,
to describe routines, words like swamped, rendezvous, and atrocious.
okay.
Do you think using this kind of language can change how we see our own routines?
Well, the language that we use to describe our experiences, it can definitely shape how we feel about them.
Right.
If you're framing your workday as swamped, that might increase your stress.
Yeah.
Whereas if you describe it as a series of productive rendezvous, it might make it feel a bit more manageable.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So it's not just about learning vocabulary for English learners.
No.
It's about finding those words that empower us to see our routines in a more positive light.
Exactly.
Speaking of positive light, those IELTS answers that people sent in, they focus on describing routines that people enjoy, playing piano, cosplaying,
Oh, fun.
even gardening. Does research actually support that idea that enjoying our routines really matters?
There's a growing body of research, actually, that links enjoyment of daily activities
Oh, wow.
to improved well-being, increased productivity, and even better physical health.
It's amazing how much of an impact it has.
Right. And those IELTS answers really underscore this connection.
Yeah.
They remind us that routines aren't just about tasks,
Yeah.
but about incorporating activities that bring us joy
Yeah.
and a sense of fulfillment.
Absolutely. There's another element I noticed popping up, especially in the YouTube transcripts, food.
Food.
Full English breakfasts, elaborate Sunday roasts. It seems like food plays a central role in so many people's routines.
What do you think? Universal routine anchor.
Yeah, and if so, why?
Food is absolutely central to how we structure our days, I think, both biologically and culturally.
Right.
Meals provide a rhythm to our day, satisfying our physical need for sustenance.
That's true.
But also serving as social and cultural touchpoints.
Makes sense. What are your favorite food-related routines?
Oh, for me, it's that first cup of coffee in the morning. Gotta have it. It's a ritual.
I know what you mean.
Like a signal that, okay, the day is starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it always tastes better when you take the time to savor it.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating, though, to look at how those food rituals vary across cultures.
Right.
We even have a source here that contrasts the English and Spanish approaches to lunch.
Oh, yeah.
A quick sandwich versus a leisurely multi-course meal.
I wonder how those different paces impact daily life.
Oh, I imagine it impacts everything. Work schedules, social interactions, even the overall feeling of the day.
Makes you think how much we take for granted about our own routines.
Right.
And how those routines shape our experience of the world.
You're right. Routines are often so ingrained that we don't even realize their impact until we see them contrasted with a different approach.
Yeah,
And that's one of the things that makes this deep dive so fascinating. It's an opportunity to examine those often invisible structures that shape our lives.
I agree completely. I got another detail to share, one that made me chuckle. We learned from one of the YouTube sources that Will, the co-host, is actually too tall for baths.
Oh, no.
It happens. And that reminds me of that Reddit thread on describing daily routines in English. People are seeking precise vocabulary to explain even the most unique aspects of their day.
That's interesting.
It really highlights how even seemingly simple routines can become complex when you consider individual circumstances.
For sure.
Finding the right language to articulate those nuances can be challenging, but also incredibly rewarding.
Absolutely.
And effective communication hinges on being able to express the specifics of our experience.
It does.
And when it comes to routines, those specifics often reveal a lot about our personalities, preferences, and even our cultural backgrounds.
Well, I think that's so true.
Speaking of individual preferences, I noticed that several sources emphasize the importance of flexibility in routines.
No.
The Entree blog article, for instance, suggests that a perfect routine might not even exist.
The perfect routine.
Yeah. Is it all about finding what works for each person?
The idea of a perfect routine is definitely elusive. The sources we're looking at all seem to agree that the ideal routine is the one that adapts to your individual needs, preferences, and even your current circumstances.
So it's like having a well-tailored suit.
Oh, well-tailored suit.
It needs to fit you perfectly,
Yes.
but it also allows you to move and breathe comfortably.
That's a great analogy. It underscores the importance of both planning and adaptability when it comes to routines. We can set intentions and structures, but we also need to be able to roll with the punches, as some of the sources put it.
I like that.
Right.
Roll with the punches.
Exactly. And that brings up another fascinating aspect of routines. They can be incredibly revealing.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Just think about it. The way you structure your day, the activities that you prioritize, even the language you use to describe your routine. All of these things offer insights into your personality, your values, and your cultural background.
That's like a fingerprint, isn't it?
It is. Unique to each individual. But speaking of fingerprints, are there any common threads that run through all of these diverse routines?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because they are very different.
Despite the vast differences in how people structure their days,
Yeah.
there are definitely some recurring themes.
Like what?
The need for structure, the desire for efficiency, the search for enjoyment, and the importance of adaptability. These are all elements that come up time and time again in the sources we've explored.
So it sounds like finding that sweet spot between structure and flexibility is key
It is.
to creating a routine that actually works for you.
Exactly. It's about striking that balance that allows for both predictability and spontaneity.
Right.
For both planning and adaptation.
So it's not about finding the perfect routine, but rather about creating a framework
That's right.
that supports your individual needs and goals,
Yes.
but also allows you to adjust to the inevitable curveballs life throws your way.
Precisely. And I think the sources that we've examined offer some valuable insights into how to achieve that balance. From the practical tips on time blocking to the emphasis on incorporating enjoyable activities.
Right.
There's a wealth of knowledge here that can help us all design more fulfilling and effective routines.
You know, going through all these sources has really made me think about my own routine.
In what way?
Are there ways I could tweak it to be more enjoyable or efficient? Or maybe even incorporate some of those self-expressive activities that the IELTS respondents talked about.
That's the beauty of this deep dive. It's not just about passively absorbing information.
Right.
It's about sparking reflection and inspiring action.
Yeah.
What aspects of your own routine are you feeling particularly curious about?
I'm realizing that I tend to treat my routine as a series of tasks
Okay.
to be checked off a list. Maybe I could benefit from reframing it as a series of opportunities for self-expression, as you mentioned earlier.
That's a wonderful insight.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the power of language to shift our perspectives.
Okay.
Instead of viewing your routine as a chore, what if you saw it as a canvas for creativity and self-discovery?
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's like turning my day into a work of art, choosing activities that bring me joy and reflect who I am.
Exactly. And as we saw in the sources, those activities can range from the simple pleasures of a morning coffee ritual
Right?
to the more elaborate expressions of cosplaying or playing a musical instrument. It's about finding what resonates with you
Yeah.
and incorporating it into your daily life.
I'm also struck by how much we can learn about different cultures
Really?
simply by observing their routines.
Oh, interesting.
That contrast between the English and Spanish lunch breaks, for example, it speaks volumes about cultural values and priorities.
Absolutely. Routines offer a window into the shared beliefs, customs, and social norms of a particular culture.
Uh-huh.
And understanding those differences can foster empathy, cross-cultural communication, and a deeper appreciation for the diversity of human experience.
As we've been talking about all of this, it's occurred to me that there's a kind of feedback loop at play between our routines and our lives.
The feedback loop.
Yeah. On the one hand, our routines are shaped by our circumstances, our work, our family life,
Right.
and our cultural background.
Uh-huh.
But on the other hand, our routines also have the power to shape our lives, influencing our mood,
That's true.
our productivity, our health, and even our sense of identity.
That's a really insightful observation. It's like a two-way street,
Yeah.
with our routines both reflecting and influencing who we are and how we live.
It makes me wonder if we could flip the script entirely.
Flip the script.
What if, instead of adapting our routines to our lives,
Mm-hmm.
we started thinking about how we could adapt our lives to better support the routines that we want?
That's a brilliant and provocative question. It challenges us to think about our priorities,
Yeah.
our values, and how we structure our time and energy.
Right.
It suggests that routines aren't just about fitting into existing structures,
Mm-hmm.
but about creating the structures that allow us to thrive.
It's like asking, what kind of life do I want to live?
Yes.
And what kind of routine will support that vision?
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of our routines and recognizing their potential to shape
Right.
not just our days, but our lives as a whole.
So it's not just about, I wake up at 7 a.m.
No.
It's about asking, what kind of life allows me to wake up at 7 a.m. feeling energized and ready to embrace the day?
Precisely. It's about aligning our routines with our aspirations
Uh-huh.
and creating a life that feels both meaningful and sustainable.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening.
Yeah.
We've gone from basic English phrases and vocabulary
We have.
to cultural comparisons, to
Yeah.
really thinking about how our routines reflect who we are and what we value.
It's pretty amazing.
And it's made me realize just how much power we have to shape our own lives through the seemingly simple act of creating a routine.
And I think we've uncovered some valuable insights for you, our listener.
Yeah.
Insights that can help you analyze your own routine, identify areas for improvement, and maybe even inspire you to make some changes.
Absolutely. We've learned that routines are highly individual,
Yes.
often tied to our sense of enjoyment and deeply influenced by our culture.
But we've also seen that they're adaptable, full of unexpected twists and turns,
Right.
and ultimately a reflection of our own choices and priorities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
If you could redesign one part of your routine, what would it be? And what unexpected vocabulary might you need to describe that new you? It's like we're all poets, right?
Huh.
Crafting the language of our own lives through the routines we create.
Yeah, I like that.
And that redesign, that one change you're considering,
Uh-huh.
it could be the start of a whole new chapter.
It could be. It could be as simple as swapping out that late night TV show
Oh, yeah.
for a relaxing walk, or finally carving out some dedicated time for
Oh.
that passion project you've been putting off.
We started this deep dive looking at basic English phrases and vocabulary, but we've ended up exploring something much deeper.
Yeah.
The very essence of how we choose to spend our time
Right.
and how those choices reflected in our routines shape our lives.
And perhaps that's the most valuable takeaway of all, the
Yeah.
realization that our routines aren't just these mindless habits, but powerful tools for self-discovery, self-expression, and ultimately self-creation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you to take a closer look at your own routine.
Yeah,
What words would you use to describe it? Is it harmonious or hectic,
right.
joyful or jarring? Are there any phrases, any activities missing from your personal lexicon?
And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
The key is to find what works for you.
Yeah.
Experiment, adapt, and keep evolving your routine as your needs and aspirations change.
Because ultimately, your routine is your own unique masterpiece.
It is.
A reflection of your values, your dreams, and your vision for the life you want to live.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep crafting the routine that brings you joy and helps you thrive.